No nigga, baby, let's face it. I've been really feel like this in a minute. Yeah, that demons in my soul got my image. You ain't gotta trust me, baby, just listen.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Stay Woke Podcast, Season 2, Episode 6. I got the fans' favorite with me, Elijah Ross. What's going on, broski?
What's good, my boy? Appreciate you having me on, man. I really do.
Yes, sir, bro. Thank you for taking time out your day to be on here, bro.
Of course, no worries, man. Have to tap in, see what all the hype's about. I've been watching them, so now I get to talk my stuff.
Facts. So, what's been going on, bro? I see you've been training a couple kids.
Yep.
How's it going with the little man? How's life going? COVID
is COVID then stopped a lot of things for me, especially trying to find gym time and with work. I'm working from home now full time for my full-time job, which is tough, but hey, man, I got a job. I'm healthy. My son's healthy. I still find time to train, but it sucks not being able to do everything that I want to do the way I want to do it. But I can't complain, bro. 2021 is going to be a big year. 2020 was tough, but it's going to be a good year. So I'm just grateful.
Definitely. Do you have like any big camps you're gonna go train at? Do you have anything big coming up in the spring, summer?
Yeah, so there's been talks about a few of the trainers in Colorado, holding some camps. We try to do something in December, but due to COVID, gym space is very limited. So I think I'm gonna do a camp with one or two guys. I haven't sure. We haven't really solidified any spaces or dates, but like a guard camp. It's like a skills guard camp for some of our elite, youth kids, and then as well as middle school, high school, and college. So we haven't put any tentative dates out yet, but
Right.
definitely gonna tap in with some of these other guys out here in Colorado, and see if we can help the community come together a little bit more, and teach some of these dudes and girls what we got.
Definitely. I was gonna say that. Are you gonna try to work on training like more females? Because I feel like there's a lot of girls out there that you could get right,
Definitely.
especially now because the game's evolving.
Shit, it don't matter who you are, boy or girl. It doesn't matter what you do. If you play, you got to be able to play and have a bag at all levels. So I had several girls I worked with last year. Obviously, my sister, is the one who I've probably been working with the longest. But yeah, I'm definitely open to. I don't think I marketed that as much as I should have. But I'm hopefully this will even help it out a little bit. Let the ladies know that we can get some work in no matter what. This game. The game doesn't know gender, doesn't know sex, nothing. It just knows hoop. So
Exactly. Definitely. Well, we'll definitely get back into that. So for the viewers who don't know who you are, you're the brother of Kobe Ross, big brother, the one that gave him that bag. You guys were born and raised in the ACO, grew up with your mom and dad, played together. What was your childhood like, man, growing up with always just being around your brother, playing on the same team with him, just always being together? You guys are like best friends. So
yeah,
elaborate about that a little bit.
Man, it's good. It's like, it's not like having a twin brother per se where everything is the same and, we get to compete. When I was younger, I was big bro. I'm still big bro, but I was a lot bigger than him back then. So, I could bully him around a lot. And if I ever wanted to do something, I wanted to try something new, he was always the first dude there to, jump in and just do it fearlessly. So it's nice having, somebody who trusts you and believes in you from such a young age. So, it's also put a lot of responsibility and pressure on me at times. But, I think I have two great siblings. My sister, she probably doesn't get talked about as much. And I know, people probably don't even know that, how big of an impact she has on my life too. But, she's 6 years younger. So she's had to kind of fall in that, underneath Colb and I, where we were doing everything together and she just kind of was a little sis. So, man, we played every single day together, Colb and I, hoop, football, you name it, soccer. We've been doing athletic stuff since we were, can't remember, and fighting ever since too. So as soon as he was, old enough to throw a punch, we've been fighting. So, it's finally changed now. He got bigger and I didn't, I can't, I'm not going to do that. I'm not trying to go there with him anymore, but, we're definitely have been, tied to the hip since we were little. And now, we're grown, and it's the relationship is still the same. We still joke around a lot. We're super fun loving, but it's more business now, more serious, because this is our futures we're talking about. So yeah, man, we just, the three of us as siblings, just grew up together. And I think basketball has obviously been the biggest outlet for all of us to express our, our creative interests. And hopefully it takes us all places that we want to be successful. So that's kind of how, we came up together.
Definitely. So with you being like the older sibling, where did you find like that role model like type, like to, like your siblings looking up to you? Like who are you looking up to?
Definitely. I think my mom, first and foremost, was the biggest role model for me, just kind of telling me, my responsibilities that I had,
Right.
and who, that I have to look out for my younger brother and younger sister. And she just, I think that the hard work and dedication that she put into everything, and, kind of instilled that fear even from a young age that, like, if you don't get it, no one's going to get it for you.
Exactly.
So I think, like, and that's probably been the most helpful thing that I could have ever asked for from her, is just, being there for me. Obviously my pops was there and he was definitely very supportive. But my mom's is the main influence, the main, role model for me. She, when I was down bad ever, or, not feeling good about something, she's the first person to, pat me on my back, but also
Right.
me to tell me to get my ass up and, keep fighting. So she's the, I think you could ask all of us that. She's the glue to the family, and she's the person who brought us up, and she's the person who, we look to in time of need. We try to take some stuff from her, and, hopefully, she's proud of us now, because, we've come a long way.
Definitely. Shit, she has to be. All y'all in college, or you graduated, they're in college, Cole's about to graduate. Shit. Shout out Mama Mary. She did
Shout
her
out
thing.
moms for sure. Shout out moms for sure. Most def.
But let's move forward. So when did you really start playing competitive basketball, like on the AAU circuit?
Shoot. I think the first time, most people know, especially if they're from Aurora, I played with East Angels, with Rick Carey back in the day. So,
Brian.
a lot of dudes that are in the Aurora area know that team. So that's like the first time I think I took basketball real serious, and I didn't really have a choice back then. That team was super loaded. I played with Cam, D. Kelly, Brian, James, all these dudes, Lottie, Chuck, all these like crazy athletes, and just some of the best dudes that came through Colorado. And so that was like the first time where I got to kind of have to compete. And before it was just, me being more athletic and more skilled than people. And then that was like the first time where, I was probably the least athletic, least talented dude. And that's kind of where I got my my first start into competitive sports, or competitive basketball in general. So that's kind of how that happened.
What grade was that?
5th and 6th grade is the first time. I think that was the 5th and 6th grade was our first years together. I know we had all been playing since we were like 6. I know that's the first time I ever got on the team. It wasn't competitive by any means at that point.
Right.
It was just get in the game, do what you could do. And then, 5th and 6th grade is when it got real. And I think, I don't know if any 5th or 6th grade team took basketball that serious like we did. I'm sure they do now, but, at the time,
exactly.
We're beating teams 100-10. Like we didn't care. We were just like that. So, that was like my first taste of being competitive in basketball.
Right. That's dope, man. So did you even have, like, when you were choosing your high school, was there ever a thought of going to East at all? Or were you strictly Eagle Crest?
Nah, I was, so, to be quite honest, I was a football player before a basketball player. That was, if you ask most people, they know me. That was like my first love. I was, probably better at football than I was basketball. Due to injuries and stuff, I had to, kind of end that. But I was going to actually try to go to, Regis or Valor to play football. I didn't, my dad was coaching at Eagle Crest. He was the defensive backs coach there. So, I was going to, either for sure go there, or I was going to try to go to one of these private schools and do that, with money and all that, and not trying to worry about having to pay that back and loans and all that. So
Right.
I just decided to go to Eagle Crest. That's the home school. I went to, Timberline is right up the road. Sky Vista is right up the road. So I went to those schools, and then my dad was already there. He was working at the school and he was coaching. So, I didn't think I was going to have like a free ride by any means to get on any like varsity team, but, I had familiar faces. The coaches knew who I was, before I even got there. So I think it was a pretty clear decision for me when I, chose Eagle Crest.
Did you have like any schools recruiting you to go to their schools?
Nah, man. I mean, Regis and Valor a little bit just because I had known some coaches there and like some of my friends were going there. But nah, times are different. Like they didn't really, unless you were like a huge name, people didn't really recruit dudes to go to their schools. Like if you wanted to go to school, you would, do school of choice or what have you. But most coaches just took what they got, like whatever guy was in their area, they would just take it. And I think that's what made, Eagle Crest super dope is because we, Coach O took guys, whoever he had, and he took them to the Final Four or a championship or Elite Eight, whatever you want. He took guys no matter who they were, and he made, a great team. So I think that's kind of how the recruitment has changed from, high school now versus how it was back then.
Right. That's what. So your freshman year, were you on varsity for football and basketball?
Man, what? No. This is where I love to talk about this. This is where I like to highlight this is, man, I was a freshman. I was 125 pounds as a freshman. I was like 5'7". And that's not terribly small, but I wasn't big. I played freshman football and freshman basketball, freshman track. So I'm all freshman team, like no swinging up, none of that. I'm strictly freshman, and I'm cool with that because I'm like, okay, I'm small, I'm young, and I got to swing one varsity game for football my freshman year. I'm scared, I'm scared of shit, scared out of my mind, not really like hoping I don't get in the game, and luckily I didn't get in the game. So that kind of tells you just I wasn't just because my dad was there and the coaches knew me. I didn't get to just walk in and play. And my brother and sister's cases are different than mine, but I really had to prove myself. I was the first one out of all three of them to go through Eagle Crest. So there's high expectations of me because people knew who I was, but man, nothing came easy at all. Like nothing. People really didn't care if my dad was a coach or not. I was just the next guy that was there to play. So yeah, I definitely played freshman in both sports.
That's crazy. I would have never thought that, bro.
But man, nobody does. Everybody thinks that like I was on varsity as a freshman, started blah blah. Like I know so many of my homies and like dudes I grew up with, dudes from that East team that started varsity as freshmen and got hella minutes. And man, I didn't even. So I started varsity. So I played varsity my sophomore year for both sports though. That was like how it kind of transitioned. I didn't start in football. I was like the second or third corner up. And then two dudes got hurt, and then by fourth game of the season, I'm starting. So that's kind of how that kind of took off. And obviously, my dad was my coach, so he's really hard on me and making sure I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do because that's his, it's his job on the line, really.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
You got to trust in me. And then I played for basketball. Coach O, he knew what I could do. We had Glenn Abdili, who also went to school with me at UCCS, but he was getting heavy minutes. He started as a sophomore. I think I was like 9 or 10 off the bench. So I was like the third or fourth dude off the bench, and I'm getting limited minutes. We had a great ass team that year. We had Trayshawn Wilford, Rajon Craig, Sean Watkins, Maurice Perez. We had some dogs, Jay Sean, Ladarian. We had killers on our team. We ended up winning that. We won that shit that year.
Yeah.
I got one bucket. I got 2 free throws at the end of the game. So I'm playing those kind of minutes. And then I ended up starting both sports my junior year, and those are probably 2 of the rougher years that I had in high school, just because it was my team. I was a quarterback for football on a young team, and we had just lost a whole bunch of seniors, and the same for basketball. Lost a bunch of seniors, and I'm young. This is the first time I'm getting any varsity like real experience, and I'm starting. So that was like probably the biggest humbling. Or like the most humbling experience for me in high school for sure is that junior year.
Definitely. Was Kolb there yet your junior year?
Yeah, so Kolb is now my junior year comes. Kolb's a freshman, and everybody knows like what they expect a lot out of him because he's my younger brother. I think a lot of people knew who he was just off like the the AAU circuit, and a lot of just local coaches knew who he was and knew what we could do because they had been watching him. So he he got his start. He got his chance playing varsity as a freshman for basketball. He didn't end up touching varsity football until like his sophomore year, I don't think. But football is always one of those like things that he was really good, but basketball you could obviously tell was his calling. So he took 2 senior spot his freshman year when I was a junior. So two guys that are older than me got cut, and I know that they were heard about it, and I'm sure that they were, and they were like, "Who is this? Who is this dude?" And just because he's brother, he can play. But I mean, you look at the stats now, you look at all the shit he's done now, and you tell me if he should have been cut or if he should have been
exactly.
So that's kind of how he went, and he was getting the same minutes I was as my sophomore year. He would come in with the second group, and he would probably get 10, 15 minutes. If we were blowing the team out, he would get in more. And I think we knew because he's on that second group. For the way we did stuff with Coach O is varsity would always play against the JV or the second group. And he would give us fits as a freshman. 14 years old, and we're 16, 17, 18, and we just we can't handle him. So I think that was the first point. Like I knew he was special, and then he got to go. He played the AAU summer, and he came back his sophomore year when I was a senior, and man, it was like a completely different person. Like he grew, he got stronger. His game just got, he was way more skilled. And that was like the first time where I had felt like I was not like second to him, but like I was ready to hand off the torch. Like I was like, you go ahead, man, you score the ball. I'll make sure you're open. And that's just how we won so many games. We ended up making it to the Final Four that year. But we lost to Thunder Ridge, which, I'll forever have a sore spot in my heart for Thunder Ridge, but we're here now.
Definitely. That's dope. I can't believe that. I feel like that's a dream for all brothers to be on the field. Or did you guys get to play football together?
Yeah. So
in high school?
It's funny because his junior, I think he was a freshman. I don't think he got to suit up any he may have suited up some varsity games when he was a freshman. I was a junior, but we were bad that year, and so we didn't even, get that much time together. When I was a senior, we had a cold-ass team. We were the number 1 offense in the state that year. He was playing receiver, and he was playing like JV quarterback. But I threw 1 touchdown to him, and they called it back against Valor. So we connected a few times. I had Peter Anderson that year, and that dude is, he should be playing professionally somewhere right now. But he was a dog, so we just threw to him every play, really. But now Cope and I played together, that senior year, but it wasn't really like our thing together. I was really a football player. He was really a basketball player. So, that winter when we got to play hoops together, man, that's probably the most – I love high school because of that. My senior year was like my best year, so my best years of my life because I got to be, playing together with my best friend. And that was like the first time I think since we were younger on the Bulldogs playing together that we got to actually, do it at a high level. We had a coach, great team, great staff, and we were just at a great program. We were one of the best schools in the state. So it was great.
Did you win state with your brother?
Nah. So my sophomore year, we won it. Junior year, he was a freshman and I was a junior. We lost in the Elite Eight. My senior year, we lost in the Final Four. His junior year, which I was in college by this point, they lost in the championship, and then his senior year,
they won.
So we made it to since I was a sophomore, we made it to the Elite Eight, Final Four, and won 2 ships, in 4 years. So, shout out Coach O. I don't know if you'll see this, man, but that's a GOAT to me. So it was a fun time.
That's woke. I can't believe that. You and your brother, man, y'all got some crazy ass accolades, man. That's dope as hell.
Heck yeah, bro.
So how was your recruitment during high school? Were you getting offers for basketball in high school, or was that after you graduated? You're plucking up some offers. So what was your recruitment like?
Yeah, so man, my recruitment was really quiet for a long time. Some of these dudes are getting offered in 8th grade. I didn't even get any interest until I was like a sophomore, I think, in high school. And that's just all like, if you apply to the school, they're going to send you a letter or something, something like that. I didn't get the first school to offer me, I'm pretty sure was CSU Pueblo. I think that was the very first school to offer me my junior year. It might've been UCCS, I can't remember. Those schools were like the first two, obviously both in the RMAC. But very light recruitment. I think what hurt me a little bit, at that stage of my career for both sports is I couldn't decide what sport I wanted to play in college. So I was doing basketball and football workouts in the summers instead of picking one. Like I should have just, at that stage, like I didn't have enough recruitment on either side that I should have just chose one. But I love both sports too much, so I just didn't, I didn't even think about that. But I got UCCS and CSU Pueblo that summer after I played good in a few tournaments, and just another thing, I was on the AAU circuit, I was on the second team, so I was always playing second fiddle to some other guards in our state, that were really good. And I have nothing against them, nothing against the coaches or anybody. That's just how it played out. And I think that's where I got the most confidence to be a dog. Is I was always felt like I was the second man up, and the guys didn't see that I was like that, and so I had to always prove that I was capable of doing what I could do, and played with a huge chip on my shoulder. I committed to UCCS in the early signing period, so I knew like I was gonna commit early. I just wanted to have my senior year to play free. But yeah, it didn't take till my junior year to get offers, and I think Fort Hays State and Hays, Kansas is the only other school. Those three schools are the only schools that offer me. So, it's tough. All these guys. I think everybody's seen it, especially being from Colorado. We're pretty underlooked, underrated state for talent. But I think a lot of young guys, especially, and girls, get caught up in this D1 mentality or this D2 mentality that I got to go at these high levels for me to be a good player. But quite frankly, I've seen some of the best D2 dudes go over and make millions of dollars overseas because they can play. And at the end of the day, it's about if you can play and going somewhere where they want you. Like, you're not going to go just because it's a D1. You go to a place that's a D1 and they don't like you, then what are you doing? You wasted 2 years, because then by the time you got to leave, you got to sit a year, you burned a year from not playing, and then you're a junior and you're just trying to get on a team and you're just trying to get on the court. And like, I know there's a lot of dudes and girls out here that are going to hear this and they're going to be like, that was either me or no, I'm not trying to hear that. But that's just the reality of it. It's like, you got to go somewhere where they want you and where you can, be yourself. And, obviously it's not smooth all the time, and there'll be bumps in the road. And, I had my fair share of bumps in the road with, the coaches and, the team at UCCS, but, I love those dudes, and I'm grateful they gave me the opportunity to play there and, take over that team for some years when I was, playing.
No, definitely. So let's actually get into that. So you chose UCCS early signing period. What was hoop like there for you your freshman year? Was it easy? Was it hard? You averaged 4 points and 4 assists, and you played 18 games. So
So shoot, man, my freshman year is crazy how it happened. I knew I was going to redshirt. I was on scholarship, but I knew I was going to redshirt, and I was cool with that. I had mentally prepared for that. Our senior guard that year, after like 10 games, is ineligible, and so he's off the team. We had some other guards who could play like their combo guards, and they could play the 1, 2, the 1 and the 2. But coach calls me. We're on winter break, and he calls me. He's like, "Hey, how would you feel about coming off your red shirt this year?" And I'm like, coach, that would be dope if I knew I was gonna get a lot of playing time, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, yeah, you're gonna start next Friday. So you go from a red shirt who's on the third team in practice to starting. I worked my way up into the second team, but you're gonna start on Friday. And I was excited, scared, all of that, bro. So it was one of those things. I knew I had crazy talent. We had Alex Welsh, shout out my boy Welsh. He All-American, averaged like 23 a game. Had multiple 40 and 30-point games, and he went out and played overseas for a little bit before he came back. But I had him, Kendall Godley. I would just, Dalton Patton, give them the ball. My job was just to come in, reverse the ball, lead the team, try to, rally the troops. But at that point, I'm young, man. I'm 18 years old. There's in the D2 level, there's guys sometimes that are 23, 24. And, my first game, I think I gave up 25 night 1, 33 the night 2. And, we played back-to-back nights. So I gave up a total of like 29 points in my first 2 games. And, I was scared as hell. And, the thing that was dope is that coaches believed in me, my teammates believed in me. They knew I didn't have a huge role, but that's just kind of how it played out. So freshman year it was really learning experience for me. I was trying to work on my body, get stronger, and just kind of understand the game and what they expected out of me.
Definitely. So your sophomore year was totally different. What was it that made you take that leap to get some more points, get your teammates the ball? You got a double-double that year.
Yep.
What was that like?
I think it just was like, most people who are college basketball players understand what it's like, that jump from your freshman to sophomore year. You understand kind of tendencies of coaches, your teammates, other teammates, how refs call the game. I think it was just a comfortability thing for me, and just kind of getting, comfortable being in the RMAC.
Right.
And, seeing some of these guys I saw my freshman year, just kind of getting in that rhythm and flow. And I think, I think I hit a game winner and a game tying shot in the same weekend. We went to South Dakota School of Mines in Black Hills, but those were games where I finally felt confident. I felt like I was playing in my AAU days with Coach Lou. Shout out Coach Lou. I know I'm name dropping a lot of people, but shout out my dog. So, I was going to all these games with the mentality that I can really do this. I still had really good teammates with me, and I had Trey Wilford, Glenn, Brandon Malone. I had all these dudes, and so I just knew that I was skilled and capable, but I still had a whole bunch of dudes. So I think I averaged 10 maybe that year, 8 or something like that. So I knew I went up, but I was still a little unsure at times, just because I think the role of point guard at UCCS is kind of more of a pass first mentality, and I think sometimes that's where Culver and I butted heads. And don't get me wrong, that's my guy, and me and him are really cool right now. We had our ups and downs throughout the years, but I'm grateful I got an opportunity, and he was a good dude, and he really cared about me as a person at the end of the day.
Definitely. So your junior year, what was your junior year like for you? I'll let you elaborate about that a little bit.
Junior year is that's the best basketball I've ever played in my life. I was healthy. I think we had 2 guys go down that year. We lost 2 or 3 seniors. So we lost Malone, and he was he's our gunner. He could shoot that thing. He was out, so we had our backup point guard Zay come in, and me and him were running it together. So I was really, since he was more of a point guard, I was really just a gunner. I got to just come off screens, shoot kind of whatever shot I wanted. And I think we were so depleted at the time that Culver really just let me just rock. I think I had 30-point games.
Yeah.
Game. I think the last 10 games I averaged 25. So I was going dumb. I think I averaged 16 or 17 that year. And it was good, man. I really felt like every time I stepped on the court, somebody was in trouble. And that was, that time where I felt like this is my team. And, I ended up being a leader in points, assists, steals, and rebounds that year. I was second in blocks, and I'm 5'9", 5'10". So you can tell that's what kind of confidence I had. I think a lot of guys trusted in me, and we didn't win that many games either. We still won probably the same amount of games, but personally and selfishly for me, it felt good to kind of have one of those wins, because I had some ups and downs throughout my career. Right. So that's kind of how that went, and it felt good.
That's crazy. Was that P's freshman year, your junior year?
P was a sophomore then, and P was super, he was super athletic, but I don't think P really even knew what kind of bag he had yet. And you started to see that, when I was a senior, and then when he was a senior, he really got comfortable handling the ball, and he could do other things besides, get to the rim and defend, and he started shooting it well. So, man, I think my highlight tape, he's got about 4 dunks in there my junior year where I'm just throwing it up to him, and, he can get anything. So that's when he first, kind of started to show the glimpses of it. And then when he was a junior is when he really started to shine.
Definitely. What was your motivation? Where'd you find that? Where'd you get the chip on your shoulder to just whoever is on this court is getting it? It don't matter. I'm sorry, but it's up.
Man, I think I had dreams of transferring out after my sophomore year. I knew my numbers weren't good enough. I think most dudes who go to UCCS, they hear about D White, and they hear about kind of the motivation to try to go play somewhere. go pro. And I never knew that, like, I knew I wanted to be a pro. I knew I was going to be, I had the potential to be a professional athlete somewhere. I didn't think I was going to go to the league. I thought I'd be overseas making money. So I think, the motivation was I wanted to be able to leave UCCS. I didn't have as good of a year as I thought I was going to be, or at least statistically wise. So then I came back, and I think I had a huge chip on my shoulder. I think I knew at that point I was a D1 guy who got overlooked. And I knew I had killed some dudes that went D1 in the state for years. And, I never got my shot. So I think I took it super personal, and I just played with that chip on my shoulder every time. If there was a good guard in the RMAC, I made it a mission to go at them. And then the first game of the season, we went out to Tarleton State, which is in Stevensville, Texas. Man, I had 20 the first night, or 30 the first night, and then 30.7 assists and 5 rebounds. I remember it vividly. And then 22 and 8 the next night. So I was RMAC Player of the Week in the first week. Mm-hmm. So, I went out there, man, and I was like, this is up. Like, I'll never back down again from here on out. And that's just kind of that first game really set the tone for me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So transitioning into your senior year, you hit a really big milestone for your school. You became the all-time assist leader there. What was it like to have that under your belt? Like, was that a big something big for you, or were you just like, it is what it is?
Nah, I think, man, I downplay it more than I should sometimes. I think it's a huge milestone, and one of those accolades that I'm really grateful to have really good teammates and, dudes scoring the ball. So, I think I downplay how important it is to me. And it is nice saying that and knowing that, my name is in the record book, forever. Hopefully no one takes it right now. Hopefully they do, but give me some more years. Right. But, I was struggling that year. At this point, my son is probably like a year and a half. So, I had a kid my junior year. And he means the world to me. But that was a tough time, man. I was struggling to juggle school, sports, having a son, and then trying to make sure I have money in the summers to, provide for him. So I think breaking that record was a huge win for me. Like, I was looking for any wins. I had surgery my senior year. I missed the first 10 games of the season, or the first six or 8 games of the season with the meniscus tear. Had to get surgery. And so, I was down bad at some points in my life, man. I was, didn't know if I could finish the season, didn't know if I even wanted to play, if I wanted to sit the year, take a redshirt year, and then come back and try to play again. So it was, that milestone, that record has a special place in my heart. And, I'm grateful that, I have it for now. Definitely.
How are you able to manage being, like you said, being a dad, being a student, and being an athlete? How is that? How did you manage to even do all that? Because me just thinking about that, bro, I would have definitely just left school and just became a full-time dad, because I couldn't handle that. So go ahead and elaborate how you did that.
Yeah, no, first and foremost, I definitely had a great corner. I still do have a great corner. I've got great support from my family. And, I think the coaching staff as well, they knew my situation was unique. So they really put a lot of time and effort into making sure I was accommodated for. And then, my mom and my brother, my sister, my dad, they helped a bunch. They made sure that, if they would bring my son to the games, and, they would take care of him while he was there. Also, my son's mom was also very instrumental in that, and she helped out a lot. And she was, watched him a lot while I was in school still. So I'm definitely grateful for that. And, I'll never not give her the acknowledgement she deserves. So it was really just, having the strong corner and, having the people to back me through all that. But I just knew, like, I was going to, I feel like my life is kind of revolved around proving people wrong and proving to people that I'm more than whatever they think I am. Like, if you don't think I'm like that, like, you'll find out. So I think I just had that chip on my shoulder, from a young age. I think I've always just had more responsibility being the oldest. And I just wanted to, show my brother and sister, like, even though you might, some things might not happen the way you want them to go, might be unfortunate, this is an opportunity, for you to either, crumble and roll over, or you can, get back up and fight. So that's just kind of how my mentality was through all that.
Right. That's woke. I can't believe that, bro. That's so dope that you managed to just overcome adversity, bro. Because, like I said, I would have fucking
Yeah.
melted in that situation. So,
There was days for sure, bro, where I was like, man, I don't even know if I can get up and go practice right now. I was going back and forth from the Springs, and that's only an hour drive. But if you think 2 hours each way, 2 hours back and forth, I'm doing that 3 or 4 times a week, and I got 6 a.m. practice for 4 years. So, we did 6 a.m. practices all of college. So, waking up early in the morning, straight from practice. If I don't have class, drive home, see my son. I got to be back for practice the next day, drive back home that night, and then, go to practice. Then I got games, and, it was a lot, bro. There was days where I would be like, I don't even think I can do this. But, I like I said, I had great support. And I just knew I always saw a bigger picture. I knew that the college, especially, like, I know a lot of people are misinformed and think that, even if you're a D1 guy, that you don't got to do school. There's a very few amount of people that'll ever go play professionally, like get drafted and make millions of dollars. So, what is your education going to do for you? And, that piece of paper means a lot. And so I think my mom instilled that in me. And she told me, like, if you don't do this, if you don't get this money, what do you, I'm not going to help you out. I don't have the money to do it either. So I kind of had to find my own way to do that. And so I'm grateful for those tough situations.
That's dope. So do you think, like, you having a son while you're still in college, like, shaped you to, like, already know what you want to do with your life, like, in the future? Like, now like, all right, I need to do this. Now it's just like, oh, I think I want to do this. I think that. Do you have more of, like, a structure in your life? Like, did it make you, like, grow up, basically?
It grew my ass up immediately, bro. Like, I had no time to, like, sulk and sit around. Like, at that point, like, it was my bed and I had to lay in it. So I think it really, unfortunately in some ways, and, don't get me wrong, I love my son to death, but I think at the timing I wasn't ready for it. And, I wasn't planning on it, but it grew me up so super fast. And I think that's why I'm, people might see me, see myself as so collected or so, like, put together. But man, you got to think that's years of, and I'm still young and I'm still figuring shit out and I'm still making mistakes and I will forever. But I think having a kid early on, like, it makes you, everything you do, you have to think about the consequence. Like, how does that affect myself, in terms of my safety to provide for my son? How does it affect my son, our image, all of those things? Like, there's things that I gotta, I can do, even though I want to do, and, I love to do it when I was younger in college, but, everything just, everything has a consequence at the end of the day. So I got to step up on, a lot of people because I kind of had to, and, but I'm grateful for it. And I think that's why my mindset is different than a lot of people. And, I've been able to achieve some things that, people might not expect of me just because, I know that nobody's stopping me. The only person who's stopping me is me. So, yeah.
Definitely. That is amazing to hear, E. That's so crazy, man.
Thanks.
Happy for you. So, what did you graduate with?
So, in terms of, like, grades, GPA?
No, like, did you get your degree?
My degree. Yeah. I'm a Bachelor of Science in communications. So I was like a strategic communications degree. That's what I finished with. And so I was, I started off health science and I wanted to do strength conditioning because I knew at some point if I didn't play, I wanted to be around the game. Couldn't do chemistry, biology. That's not for me. Went on. So, to be quite honest, I struggled my freshman year. I was on a academic probation after my second semester, and I was almost ineligible to play. So I had, I made the switch over to business. My grades were so low that I couldn't get into the business program. So, man, I'm dealing with a lot at this point. So then I'm a junior, I think, or going into my senior year. I sit down with my academic advisor, and I'm like, hey, I need to graduate. Like, I need to find a way. I'm only getting so much money for so many years. Like, how do I get there? They said a lot of my business credits were transferred, so I ended up going to communications and getting that degree. And it took me 4.5 years, so half an extra year or extra half year. But man, that's one of the most rewarding, moments of my life. And my son got to see me graduate, which I didn't plan on. When I'm 18, I'm not thinking like, oh yeah, your son is gonna be sitting there watching you graduate,
right?
Across that stage. But yeah, I did it, man, and I'm happy that I got to do it and I had the people to support me. But, there was times where I was like, man, I might just have to pack up and get up out of here and, cut the degree short because I didn't know if I'd be able to hoop, but I got it, bro.
Definitely. That's dope. Congrats on that.
Thanks,
So
man. Thank you.
with that degree, what field has that put you in now? Like currently, what are you doing for your job?
So currently, I'm a data analyst for the it's like a people analytics team. So basically, I work in HR, and that's kind of my day to day. I do a lot of reporting and analytics on the internal side of the company. So we look at whatever's happening within our company. It's called TIPCO. It's an enterprise software company. So my degree has nothing to do with what I do now. Today.
Right.
I think I was in this scholarship program for 4 years. It's called Delta Eta Boulay. And, if there's anybody wondering, they're still opening. I work for them now. So they have applications for, high school boys. So if you're interested, reach out to me. But I got that scholarship and they basically sent my resume to all these different companies. That's just one of the benefits of the company, working for them and being in that program. And then, companies were hitting me up left and right. They were calling me, every summer for internships. And, I had an internship every summer. So for 4 years. And I think a lot of people wait till their junior or senior year. If you can get an internship as early as a freshman or right out of high school, do that because that's like really good experience. And like people can, obviously the college route isn't for everybody, but if you do that and you kind of want to be in the business space, that's like a perfect example. So they hired me on as like a recruiting coordinator. Basically, I helped out the recruiters and, did just some kind of day-to-day stuff. I did a lot of stuff around just kind of recruiting people and how like the job titles and the job descriptions work. And then I worked really closely with the analytics team. And then my current boss now, he told me that he really likes, my enthusiasm and just kind of how my brain worked in terms of the analytical side of things. And he hired me after 2 summers. So I spent 2 summers there. And then, I got my job. January 2nd was my 1-year anniversary. So I've been there about 1 year and a month now.
Congrats, bro. That's crazy. It's just crazy how many strings could pull to others. So that's dope that you applied yourself and now you're happy with where you're at now. You know what I mean?
Heck yeah. And there was times where I didn't want to apply for those scholarships. I didn't want to be in some of these programs and didn't want to have internships, wanted to just hoop and, kick it with my friends and stuff. But like I said, I had a kid. I knew I wasn't going to be able to just sit back and wait on anybody else. I had to go get it.
So do you ever feel like what do you want to do with like your training? What are you doing with that?
Yeah, bro, that's like the main goal. I think all of this stuff right now is, a vehicle for me to put food on the table, pay for this house that I have and, my bills and stuff for my son. But, training is the main goal. That's what I want to be doing full time. It's all about a matter of time and kind of how that looks. Obviously, COVID has kind of put a hinder on that in terms of gym space and, my availability to work with my clients. But, I started off at a gym in Highlands Ranch, the Panoramic Sports Institute. And that gave me my first shot. So, I'm forever grateful that I got to work there. Things didn't work out over there, but I think I got to kind of build my name and my reputation as a trainer here in Colorado. So, I took it there. I've just been kind of bouncing from gym to gym right now. I think the next thing up for me in terms of training, Cole will enter this draft process, pre-draft process coming up. I'll be in charge of a lot of those workouts. So, whether they're here, Miami, Cali, whatever agent he decides to go with, they'll kind of put their things in place. But I think that'll be like a big thing for me this summer. If, especially if I don't have gym time, working with him on getting him ready for the league. So that's kind of how that looks. I have clients from, 5 years old all the way to, I've worked with some guys that, I've already played in college. I've got about 5 dudes that play internationally. And, hopefully Kolb is the first guy who goes to the league. So it's just kind of, now I work with college, high school, men and women. So it's been, definitely humbling, especially this COVID stuff is, it's really kind of made me feel like, it can be tough. And, sometimes it can be demoralizing to see that like all this hard work I've put in and all these hours I've put in just to see me kind of take steps back. But I think that's just kind of the state of everybody right now. So I'm just be patient. And then, the main goal for me is to open up my own gym. So, when the money's right and, I can open up my own gym, I want a state-of-the-art facility. I don't want just like a warehouse, or I don't want just a little court. I want something similar to like, the Institute, where they've got, a court, turf, physical therapy side of things. And I know that costs money. Hopefully with, my clientele and, investors and things like that, we'll open that up. And then I just, want to branch out, have a gym that, I run, and, different people, I have different people on my staff that can do all these different things, and we can have AAU teams and whatnot. And then from there, I want to make Colorado a place where people come to train. I think everybody wants to leave here and go to Cali or New York or Miami, especially when it comes to basketball. But I know a lot of people do like to train in Colorado because of the high altitude and, that kind of challenge. So I think me, trying to make my market here, it's not oversaturated. It's pretty undersaturated. So I think finding my way to, build it up. And I think I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket here, but, my brother is going to be, pretty instrumental in that and kind of his growth and his process. I think it's already opened up quite a few doors for me in terms of people who I've worked out, and I've trained. So that's kind of the goal. I've talked to several coaches, the high school level, all of them want me to come coach. I think in terms of my time and, my commitment to, making money while I'm doing something is big right now. So, I can't take any volunteer work per se. Obviously I want to learn from a coaching standpoint, but I think until I'm later in my career, I probably won't do much coaching unless it's, paid coaching at the college or pro level. So, I think it would be dope to get on staff as like a skill development guy on an NBA or G League team. But, that takes time, and, there's not much money in that early on. So that's the big thing is doing something you love, or taking that, that pay cut. So I just got to find the balance right now. I'm young with a kid in a house. So, I got to do what's the most responsible right now.
Definitely. Well, I think that shit's going to work out. I mean, you guys, like you said, you guys made it this far, and I didn't even know that you were going to do this. I thought you were going to get out of school and try to go pro. So seeing you and Cole train, and we've had our sessions together when I was coming back. So
hell yeah.
I just know that the work that you provide is top of the line and second to none. So for the viewers that are listening to this, I will have all his information down below. So do not hesitate to hit him up and get some work in, because it is probably the best work right now in the state by far, second to none. So
definitely. Hey, I appreciate you, bro. And, I really do. Anybody wants to get better, let's do it. I don't care how old you are, how young you are, what background you have in hoop. I'm trying to develop players, and I'm trying to take people's game to the next level, or places they didn't even think they could take it. So, I appreciate you, supporting me, man. And, you were the first dude I think I trained at the Institute, and, and the first person who kind of gave me my shot to get some exposure. So I'm forever grateful for you and that, bro.
Oh yeah, it's love always, bro. We're family, so you already know. We support each other through everything.
Always, my boy.
But damn, I got a couple questions for you.
Yes, sir. Hit me.
This is a little hard one. It might throw you on the edge, but I gotta ask.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So, besides Jazik and Kolb, who is the best player you train right now, or you've trained besides Jazik and Kolb?
Besides Jason and Cole, the best player I've trained, that's tough. Man, I think at different level. You mean like just like overall, like right now, like the best player that I train?
Yeah.
Shoot, man, that's tough. Consistently trained or trained, because you got to think I've worked with guys like Dom Collier, Eric Garcia. I've worked with some of these guys who, we started off just kind of as friends, more or less, but and now like I kind of do some workouts with them. I think consistently trained. I think Tyson Gilbert is another name that Tyson's a dog, and I know that he's, fighting back from his recovery with his heart surgery, but, very skilled, very, smart about the game. Let me think. Quincy Harding, that's my dog. He played overseas in Romania and then Albania. His season got cut short. He's a Springs dude, so he went to school out there, and then he played at Western. So I think Q is probably one of the toughest dudes that I train, currently, and he's back home now. So, and in terms of other dudes that I don't get to work out with that much, I'm sorry, y'all, I can't really say y'all because I work with Q the most right now. So, but nah, man, I've had you saw some of those groups that I had in the summer.
Definitely.
I had 4 or 5 high D1 or pro guys. So, it's kind of hard to say, but I'd say right now Quincy Harding is the top guy.
Definitely.
Outside of Coleman Jays, of course, for sure.
So, all right. I want to say this.
Where did you get all these moves from, bro? Because I feel like you have so many moves. So I need to know. I've been wanting. Where do you get these moves from?
Man, to be completely honest, I don't know if anybody watches as much basketball. Like, I know people do, but like when it comes to just like breakdown of moves and that's what social media is a great place. Instagram and Twitter is everything to me. Not only for marketing, but it's teaching me so much about how you can capture certain things and certain details. So I think watching some of my favorite trainers, obviously I like Chris Brickley. I think I like his business mindset more than anything. Drew Hanlon does a really good job of breaking down the game, and they have these little Alex Bazell through the lens and these micro skill progression things that they do. So I think watching those some of my favorite trainers and them breaking stuff down, and then seeing what those things, like how they translate to games. Like, is some of this just because they want to show like, oh, this is a cool drill, or is it like, is it legit? And then my brother brings home stuff every time he comes from an NBA workout or, works out with a big time trainer. He brings stuff back to me. And, at the end of the day, I know this game well. I played it. I've left, quite a mark, I think, at my school. I still play pickup. If anybody wants to play ones, I'm still here. I'm ready. But nah, it just, I think, comes down to,
I can't stand you.
all the film that I've watched and just kind of grown to develop over time. Like, there's stuff that I've done that I'll still do because I think it's a good drill. There's stuff that I'm like, I'll never do that again because it didn't stick. But man, I've watched tons of film. I have my select group of trainers I follow, and then asking other trainers, kind of seeing like what they do. I went to a couple of Trey O'Neal's workouts. He was training, seeing what Mike Sparks is doing and kind of seeing some of these different workouts that, my guys close to me are doing, and just seeing how I can incorporate that. I think my main goal in training is to train somebody in the best way for them. I'm not going to have, I want everybody to be skilled and have a bag, but I'm not, some guys don't need the same bag. Everybody doesn't need the same bag. Like, if you're really like that, you have a bigger bag. If not, we'll work with the bag you have, and we'll just try to improve on it and make it a little bit bigger here and there. But, I don't want anybody to think, oh, if you work with me, you're going to be able to come down the lane and dunk on somebody and then step back threes and stuff like that. Like, we're both working. Like, you're working with my knowledge and I'm working with your skill. So how do we put that together, and how do we maximize your potential is the main goal.
Definitely. That is what I like to hear.
Sir. Yes, sir.
So another question is, who is your top 5 artists right now?
Top 5 artists right now? I mean, that's pretty easy for me. I'd say Dirk right now, Baby. And people are always weird about this one, but Gunna is always in my top 5.
Tough. Yeah.
Gunna's like just super different. Drake, because when he drops Certified Lover Boy or whatever, that's gonna go stupid. My last guy, shit, I'm gonna have to say either A Boogie or I like DaBaby. Like, people will be sleeping on DaBaby, and I know he's kind of like, he raps to be funny, but he don't be missing, bro.
Yeah, I fuck with him.
I lied. Take DaBaby out. Herbo is my dog, for real. So that's one of my favorite rappers. So I'd have to put him in my top 5.
Baby. G Herbo. You gotta put the baby in there, bro. He's nice.
He is nice. I'm just saying, like, my favorite rappers, I think Herb is in there just because.
Hell yeah. That's dope. So what about your top 5 players in the league right now?
Top 5 players in the league right now. Got to have LeBron in there no matter what. KD, got to have him there. AD, what I say? KD, AD, LeBron, Kawhi. And that 5th spot, it's always tough for me to put either Steph or Giannis there. I'm going to go with Steph just because, you know, with what he's given, his skill set is off the charts. So I think I have to go Steph, KD, Bron, AD, and Kawhi.
I like that. That's a valid list.
And then I got Dame and I don't know. I got Dame like on the periphery. He's close. And then there's a whole bunch of young dudes that'll obviously surpass those guys when they're out of the league. But yeah.
Nice. All right. So last question before we wrap this up is who would you like to see on the podcast? Because everyone wanted to see you. So now it's your chance to tell me who you want to see.
It looks like you got to wrap it up then because I'm the only person everybody wanted to see. You know who I'd like to see on the podcast? Are you only doing players? Or are you doing like anybody?
Anybody, bro. Anybody. We're expanding. We are now. You guys hear that? We are expanding. We are expanding.
Expansion. Man, if I could get anybody, if I could see anybody on the podcast that I'd be interested in hearing from is kind of their mindset with things is either Coach Olander or Coach Rudy Carey. I'd love to hear like just kind of what they have to say about the game of basketball itself and, you know, some of the most winningest coaches that I've, you know, ever been around and just kind of, you know, grown to respect over the years. Obviously I played for O, but, you know, especially with Coach Rudy, he's a legend. So I think those guys, I think from a different perspective, from a coach's standpoint and not, you know, necessarily just a player standpoint, I think that's a good way to kind of expand and go in that route.
Definitely. Well, I'll text Rudy and then you text Coach O. And then maybe we could just put them together. We'll just join it. I'll do like a live interview. Everybody could watch it.
I love that.
O and Coach Carey. So text him. I'll text Rudy.
Idea. I got you.
Let's do that.
I got you.
We'll put that together.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good one. That's good.
But my guy E, I appreciate you for coming on here, bro. Sure. You spreaded a ton of knowledge. Everybody wanted to hear what you had to say and what you were going through. So I'm glad you opened up and talked about that because that's what we all wanted to hear. So thank you, bro. Thank you for being on here. It means the world to me.
Definitely, man. Thanks for, you know, having me on here and, you know, let me talk my shit. You know, I talk a lot and sometimes I talk fast. So hopefully y'all got that. But you're doing something special right now, you know, getting the word from everybody else. And I'm happy for you, bro. Hopefully this blows up and, you know, it starts to go crazy even more than it already has.
Appreciate you, my guy. Everyone, Elijah Ross. Remember, stay woke.
Stay woke.